Yeah, I like that a lot because
Okay.
I like just the history of it. Like being
Wait,
able
did
to
you
like
get
my
Cold War?
roots. I haven't. I probably will because I get sucked into every Call of Duty.
Yeah, I
usually.
don't
The
know.
campaigns are awesome every single time.
The
pretty
zombies
much.
also look pretty good. I don't know how much that
That's-
tickles your fancy.
I actually do really like zombies. So my buddy got Cold War, and he was like, "Are you gonna get this?" Like, I'm not gonna get it unless more people get it. And I was like,
My buddy is
fine.
currently rubbing in my face the fact that the Celtics did not take Tyrell Terry. So that's how my morning's going.
"Well, it is what it is."
Nice. That
All
wow.
I pretty much play right now, I play just Apex, Rocket League, and Madden.
You play Madden?
Yeah. No, so there's this part's actually really cool. Me and 5 of my buddies are in a connected franchise, and so we draft our full teams, and then we play against each other as
Okay.
our drafted teams. It's actually really cool. I don't love Madden, but actually, real quick before we get this going, the Xbox Series X enhanced version of Madden 21 is going to take 5 years of Amazon data because they've connected GPSs to all the players for
Right.
the last 5 years. They're uploading all of that data up to Madden's servers. And Madden, like Tyreek Hill, for instance, is going to run the exact same speed as he does in real life. So, like, let's say you have Tyreek Hill versus DK Metcalf running side by side. Their full max speed will be the speed that they've reached in real life.
Really?
And, like, their jukes will look realistic and everything. Yeah, it's going to be pretty sweet.
Okay. Well, I don't have any faith that they can pull that off and execute that well.
I don't either, but we'll see. But now we can talk some sports, I guess.
You wanna do
Wanna
that?
Talk some sports? I'll talk some sports if I have to. I love to.
Do you?
I do. All right, welcome back to the locker room. I'm your host, Justin Reed, alongside Andrew Tenney. We are a little bit more distant, as you can see here, but it's mainly because we don't like each other at all. So this is the only way we can do the show without just getting upset with each other. So
5 feet for animosity.
5 feet. They say 6, but 5 is the max we can do on this table, so they'll have to live with 5 feet. Anyway, I love Lucky Bird.
Nice. Do you want to keep going, or do you want me to
No,
just
that's
cut you
about
off?
it. Go ahead. That's all you.
So as you guys know, we're going to start the show off as we always do, telling you a little bit about how much we love Lucky Bird, one of our presenting sponsors. And Lucky Bird wants you guys to know that they're a Spokane-based e-commerce and digital marketing company dedicated to helping local companies scale in the online world of e-commerce and digital marketing. So visit luckybirdbrand.com to have a down-to-earth, no-pressure conversation about your digital marketing and e-commerce strategies today.
I don't have anything clever to say. They're just great.
Yeah, they
they're
really
they're
are.
a great company. I wonder if like they listen to the show and like they watch us and they hear us talk about them.
I think Scott does
and
from time to
like
time.
I hope he feels the like
The
happy,
affection.
like the affection, like the deep down.
And how
just
grateful
love.
we are for Lucky
How
Bird.
grateful. How grateful
We'll
we
always
are.
hold a special place in the heart of the locker room, being our first.
Being our first
sponsor.
First sponsor, as well as increasing the luck for every person who uses them.
And all of these
And all of these
lame-ass
awesome-
ad-libs they've given you
They're
the
gonna love it.
opportunity to try.
They are going to love it, and they're going to love it because the fact that the Seattle Sounders are in the MLS playoffs. That's cool.
Whoa, that's really
That's
cool.
really cool. They're actually so since 2009 when they joined MLS. That sounds about right. Anyway, they've made the playoffs every single year since they joined MLS. They also lead MLS in points as well as wins. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty. I mean, for an expansion franchise to be able to stay at that top level for the entire time is wild. Because you look at a team like the Golden Knights, who they're not bad, but they're not at the peak as they were in their first year as an expansion franchise. So they play on next Tuesday against LAFC, who they beat in the Western Conference Finals last year. It was a really good game. But I think the Sounders kind of got screwed here because the LAFC is a really good team. They just didn't have their best player for the first 4 months of the season.
Off the top of your head, don't look this
Yeah.
up. Since 2009, when the Sounders came into the MLS, who has won the most MLS Cups?
That's a good question. I know the Galaxy won 2 or 3. I'd have to say the Galaxy because Donovan really took off right around then. I'd say the Galaxy.
Okay, that's your. I'm just curious.
Oh, you don't know?
No, I don't know. I don't care. Soccer, dude.
Why do I have to do everything?
I told you not to look it up.
No, I'm going to look it up now because now I have to know.
I figured you're.
Who are you going to guess?
Galaxy sounds right. I mean, I don't know, like Toronto or something weird.
All right, so we have the Rapids in since 2009. We have Salt Lake. That was actually played in Seattle. That was played at Quest.
Interesting.
That's interesting. I did not know that. You have the Salt Lake in 2009, Rapids in 10, Galaxy in 11, Galaxy in 12, Sporting Kansas City in 13, Galaxy in 14. It's the Galaxy.
Okay.
Galaxy have 1, 2, 3, and the Sounders have 2 though.
Okay.
Sounders have 2. Portland has 1. Toronto has 1. Atlanta has 1. Sporting has 1. Colorado, Salt Lake all have 1. So Sounders have won. Sounders and Galaxy have won 5 of the champions.
That's actually pretty well spread around
the
league.
Not bad for a team or for a league that has always seen like a very top-heavy approach. You have the Galaxy and the Sounders did battle consistently, and then over the last probably 8 years, the Timbers have been up there a lot. But no, it's actually pretty good, and this year might be another one because the best team in the league is the Philadelphia Union, and so you might see another different champion. It'll be the Sounders, so it won't matter, but you could see a new champion. So they kick off next Tuesday against LAFC. The other soccer news that we have for you is actually, go back to the Sounders, their best player before their best player came back was Diego Rossi. He has COVID, so he's out because he was on international duty. 3 of the 4 players that went off on international duty for LAFC got COVID. So that sucks.
Yikes.
That sucks. That's why MLS kind of blows. But, yeah, so the other soccer news, Manchester City's Pep Guardiola signed a 2-year extension, top coach in the league, my favorite international soccer team. So that's awesome news, even though he managed at Barcelona for 3 years, Bayern Munich for 2. He'll be like 7 years at Manchester City when this is all said and done, which in soccer you just never hear of. So that should be pretty cool to see. He actually people thought that he might go back to Barcelona this year, so we'll see what happens with that. I'm wearing an awesome jersey today.
Why is that?
I am wearing Ken Griffey Jr.'s jersey because, going back to the Sounders, this guy right here is now a partial owner of the Seattle Sounders alongside Russell Wilson, Drew Carey, Macklemore, a lot of really cool personalities own the Sounders. But they announced this, I think, yesterday, maybe 2 days ago now, that he was going to be a part owner. They released actually a really cool video on his ownership, which was really a really nice thing to do for him. We'll play the first 20 or so seconds for you here, just so you can see how much love the Sounders have for number 24.
The pitch on the way to Junior, and it swung on and belted deep to left field, and under the track, the wall, welcome to Seattle, Ken Griffey Jr.
The ball into deep left center field. Griffey going back to the warning track, leaps high in the air, and he's got it! An incredible catch!
There's 40 more seconds if you really want to go watch the whole thing, but for me, Seattle sports, obviously, we've been over this plenty of times. Seattle sports are home for people in Spokane, but it's pretty cool to see the Seattle franchises and personalities and big-time players from these franchises all coming together and becoming a partial owner of the Sounders. And I think that's really interesting, but it's always nice to have one of the best players of all time in your corner, I guess, with a lot of money.
Right, yeah, that more importantly.
Money drives the world, and let's not pretend that money isn't the most important thing. And Sounders have it. Sounders have a lot of money, so because they've been talking about actually getting enough money. They want to build a soccer-specific stadium. They want to get out of formerly Quest Field, formerly CenturyLink, which we'll get to in a second. So we'll see if that actually happens. Another piece of actually breaking news that happened just about an hour ago: Conor McGregor back in the octagon.
Yeah.
How exciting is that?
It's pretty exciting. When is this happening?
January 23rd. Okay. So it's 2 months away. It's right around the corner.
Yeah, it'll probably be a huge build-up, a lot of anticipation. Yeah. Then the fight will last, I don't know, south of 90 seconds.
Will he get arrested before this fight?
Ooh.
What are the odds on that?
No.
There's a prop bet on that, I bet.
Yeah, I would like to see failed drug tests too. If it was John Bones Jones fighting, I would hammer that.
There's no way that he doesn't get
There's no way he's got any clean piss.
Yeah, that'll be on Fight Island. I think that's such a fun, hilariously fun thing.
It's cool.
In my mind, the fact that there's a place called Fight Island, it sounds like a movie.
Abu Dhabi.
Speaking of Abu Dhabi, they own Manchester City. That's interesting.
Oh, do they really?
They do. Oil. Big money.
Big oil.
Always goes back to money. But no, he's going to fight Dustin Poirier, who he's only fought once before. This was 6 years ago. He beat him via TKO in 2014. So this will be UFC 257. They'll obviously be the main event. It'll be nice to see McGregor back in the octagon. I don't really like the guy, but I do.
Do you like anybody that's cool?
Okay. I like him, but I don't, because the guy who remember when he threw the chair or something through the glass? The guy he injured was a Spokane fighter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the guy who got all cut up on the inside was a Spokane UFC fighter.
Ah, so you have loyalties.
Yeah, the loyalty to my Spokane. Did you know I brought an MMA guy on my show before?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, the family friend Connor Asselford. It's his birthday today. He's probably not watching, but happy birthday, Connor, if you are watching. I just saw that right before we came on. But MMA fighting is wickedly awesome. Mm-hmm. It's probably, I love the NFL. If I had to watch an awesome main event fight versus or the Eagles Giants, I'd watch MMA 10 times out of 10.
Okay, well, you're saying Eagles and Giants. Like
I'd watch the Seahawks. I'd watch any other good game, but I'd watch MMA over some NFL games.
Would you rather bet on MMA or the NFL?
Oh, that's a good question. See, our state blows because we can't do any betting on sports. Thanks, Inslee.
Yes, it does.
I think. Is that someone to blame? I don't know.
Not great.
Our legislator?
Right now.
Kathy? I'll blame Kathy. I'll blame Kathy and Jay.
Okay.
Just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Just to make sure no one thinks anything different of me.
Both of them should give us money.
Both of them should allow us to spend as much money as possible on betting.
And also provide us that money.
Let me just bet away all the money I make here on sports. Why can't I?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why can't I? I don't know. I would love to see people bet, but I would say I would like to bet on fighting more. I think fighting would be more interesting because there's more. Like the fight could be over in 10 seconds. Right. You're like, I just lost $5 grand. I just lost $5 grand.
I think there's more adrenaline pumped into watching, a fight that you have money invested in.
Well, McGregor fought earlier this year, right? In January, I think too.
Yeah, against Cowboy.
And he only fought. That was only like a 20-second fight.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Like that to me is very. I would love to be able to bet on fights. I really would. It's probably a good thing that we're not allowed to bet on sports in this state because I would be doing a lot of small betting. I would never bet anything massive, but like I'd bet on what color the Gatorade is that gets dumped.
I like
the Super
that.
Bowl.
I love those
prop bets. Prop bets I think are my favorite because they're some of the most. We read over some of the prop bets this last Super Bowl when I was up at the Spokesman, and some of them are ridiculous. Like one was like, what color cleats is Brady going to be wearing or something like that, and it's like I don't know what color cleats is he going to wear.
How many sweatbands is he going to have on his wrist? How many sweatbands are they going to have?
I mean, really, some of the craziest things. So you heard it here first. We want sports betting, and we're gonna start driving that movement. Follow us on social media, and we'll keep the fight alive for sports betting in this state. But we have before we can get to that fight, we have a lot of NBA stuff going on. It's really condensed because everything that's happening right now should have happened months ago, and the season starts in 3 weeks?
Yeah,
maybe
just about
month, maybe
December 22nd.
So yeah. So a month from now, the NBA season starts. By the way, we are live. So if you have any questions, any comments on anything on the show, anything you want us to talk about, let us know, and we will go over anything your heart desires.
That's right.
So back to the NBA, they are really having issues with trying to condense everything, and I feel like it's really rushed. I don't think the NBA has a problem with it, but for me, it just seems weird.
Well, as a consumer of it, because so many trades have already happened and in terms of like relevance have already fallen by the wayside, like the whole Dennis Schroeder getting traded to the Lakers, I mean, that was a big deal. And then that just completely got overshadowed just like that. With the flurry of trades that ensued after. It's been crazy. I mean, Woj and Shams, this has got to be like one of the most intense weeks of their lives.
Heck, he was telling everybody who was going to be picked before that actually happened last night.
Well, okay, that's the other thing all right. Do you want to go to the draft? You want to talk about the draft?
Let's talk about the draft.
Okay.
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, so do you want to just like go over the first 5 picks?
Let's go.
I mean, nothing terribly crazy. I would say that Patrick Williams going forward to Chicago was probably the first screwball in there. It wasn't until the telecast that I decided that I really am not in on Anthony Edwards. So with that being said, I'm sure he's going to be, really good, a perennial all-star and everything, but I'm not into it. I don't really, so one thing that I do like in pro sports, just because I think it's so cool to be able to do, because it's why I love Jay Cutler. It's the guys that are in the league.
I was not expecting to hear Jay Cutler on the show.
It's the guys that make it to the league that don't actually have that like deep existential passion and love for the sport. They just do it because they can and because it's going to make them money. Yeah. I just think that's the coolest flex that you could ever have. It's kind of like Brooks in golf as well.
Yeah,
like he's not Tiger. He's not in it for the love of the game. He's just really good at it, and he knows all the really cool things that come with it. And
Like millions of dollars.
Right, and fame, publicity, yeah, all the things, yeah.
And in Tiger's case, mistresses left and right.
Yeah, exactly. Brooks is a little bit more wholesome of a guy, I like to think.
In theory.
Yeah.
We all thought Tiger was a swell guy, and it's like, yeah, I have 27 mistresses or whatever.
It's just like, oh, okay.
Rock on, Tiger, rock on.
You do you. But anyway, so where were we? Oh, so apparently Anthony Edwards is one of those guys, I guess. His sports allegiance is a little bit more tuned to football.
Yeah.
And I guess if he could be drafted in the NFL, that's what he would be doing, and he would drop basketball.
Which is crazy to me. What would you rather you're the top of your sport in basketball,
100%.
football, or baseball. Which one would you rather play? You're going to make tens of millions of dollars no matter which you're top of the league.
You're going to last the longest in baseball, but basketball, you have a really good shot of having a long career as well, and it's a little bit more exciting and sexy of a game, and there's a lot
especially
more,
right now.
Yeah, more money, especially like worldwide, that goes into it, and just the way that the NBA
markets players, I think, is huge.
Right, exactly. I don't know why you would choose football out of any of those.
Football's the bottom of my list by far. Just health purposes. I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, most players, you're playing, if you get, let's say you get into the league at 21, you're a defensive lineman. You're playing from 21 to 30. If you're an athletic stud, running backs are not making it that long as a starter at least. No, I would pick definitely basketball or baseball. That's fair. But yeah, no, it's not. It is. You're going back to that whole passion thing, and that was a big thing that was pointed out that all of those analysts talked about on ESPN. They all talked about his lack of ambition and passion for basketball, and they really did hammer home that he was a really good running back and that he would have rather played football, and yet he was recruited so hard by Georgia, and he just kind of felt like that was the path. And it's going to be interesting. That's going to be really – because from everything that I saw, he has the highest ceiling in the draft.
Well, okay, so that's another thing that's super interesting to me about the NBA draft and the NBA in particular is that they value upside and ceilings so much more than they do floors and maybe taking into consideration flaws or holes in a particular player's game. It's like, can he pass? No. Can he dribble? Does he have a handle? No. Can he shoot? No. Can he dunk the out of it? Yes.
Yeah,
okay, sick.
He's high flying.
Let's land him. Yeah, and it's weird to me because I just feel like you should be able to see within a player, like shooting, defense, tries, is locked in, is not lost, can make decisions without actually having to go in slow motion through every decision because the game is so much faster. I don't know. It's just interesting, and I feel like there was a lot of that in this draft, and there were people like Tyrese Halliburton who fell to the Kings that would have been like the Warriors weren't going to pick him with the second pick if they had traded back. Maybe they could have, but with the second pick, I mean, you want to go with the upside and the value. Exactly. Just being in that position, it's more difficult to call that shot. But like he was an example, especially specific to the Warriors, that would have been able to just plug in and play right away. Been a contributing member off the bench and been able to play really big minutes on a contending team in the West. And so there were a few of those guys spread across the first round of the draft, but I feel like especially within the top 5, there are major question marks surrounding all of those guys.
So so we talked about a little bit of Anthony Edwards. Let's go to number 2 here, James Wiseman and the Warriors. So breaking news, Klay Thompson done for the year.
Officially
torn Achilles. Officially torn Achilles for Klay Thompson, the WSU Cougar, who missed all of last year because of a torn ACL in his knee. I don't want to speculate, but those two things are connected, you would think, because of either A, it's the same leg, and he's been rehabbing the heck out of it.
So it's not, it's his other leg.
So it's his other leg. Yeah. Okay, so then what it probably is the fact that other leg is being worked the heck out of as
overcompensating.
Exactly. It just those two things happening, this quickly after each other, it's speculation, but it makes sense. But that's a big loss. That Warriors team
huge.
Will, again, be average.
That's not even just a huge loss for the Warriors. That's a huge loss for the league. I mean, I know I can speak on this personally, but as a fan, I was super excited to watch the Warriors come back with a little bit different of a team, see how the Andrews thing works, see how they could develop Wiseman, who they just drafted. And I just want to see Draymond, Klay, and Steph run it back against a younger, new landscape, especially in the West. So much has changed since they all played in that 2019 finals against the Raptors, ultimately losing, and Klay going down and KD going down. But so much has changed, and I just thought it would be really cool to see an old man run at the title with two of the best shooters that we've ever seen in the game.
I need to look at the contract situation, but I would assume they're all going to be back together next year. I think the only question mark would be Draymond, right? Just based off.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Just based off of let's not even think about contract, but just based off of I think wanting to be together and wanting to like stay. I feel like the Splash Bros want to stay together, and Draymond I feel is kind of like the outsider, even though he's very important and key to that team. I think he would be the one who would be most likely to leave.
Yeah, if he were to leave, though, and actually go to a team in which he was more of the focal point, I think that would be bad for his game ultimately. Because I think he's going to have the hardest time aging out of all those guys. Yeah. I mean, Klay is going to be different now because he's had 2 back-to-back catastrophic season ending injuries. But, yeah, I was really excited about that, and that is no longer the case. So prayers up for Klay. That's awful.
I don't like the Warriors, but that sucks for the NBA, and it sucks for fans. It sucks for the competition because that would have made 2 powerhouses in the West. I mean, absolute monster powerhouses. So that is unfortunate. But they did take James Wiseman last night, and they did talk about how they didn't think the Warriors would overreact because they knew last night that he had a torn Achilles, and we just found out this morning. So they knew that they could have picked someone to fill in that spot, but they instead went with a guy who I think fits their long-term plan better, and that is Wiseman. Even though Wiseman is kind of – he's not the prototypical NBA player in this day and age. He's 7'1", 7 foot, 7'1", somewhere in there, and he's very much back to the basket, down low kind of guy with a little bit of mid-range. He doesn't
occasionally he can hit a shot and it's like, oh,
he can do that.
Stretch it a little bit.
And I think that'll be the biggest part of his game that needs to be worked on because he has the down low game. That's not a question. He's going to be bigger, more athletic than anybody else.
Well, he has a really good finish around the rim too, especially with his left hand.
He has nice body
control.
100%.
He's got good hands too. Like he catches everything. Yeah, at the worst, he's going to be like a rim running big for them, and obviously
perfect for off the bench. Worst case,
100%. Yeah,
I think the problem for Wiseman is just seeing how his game actually translates to the NBA because of the fact that he only played a few games in college.
Exactly.
So that'll be the biggest thing for him is getting. And I'm even reading it right here. The big thing is getting him the most physically prepared that they can. I mean, they play in a month.
I know. It's crazy for the rookies especially.
Yeah, because, I mean, they have to get in. They're probably now just reporting. Probably not because of COVID protocols. They're probably not even able to, just based off of, like the NFL, for instance, you have to wait 5 days before you can actually start practicing. So they may have less than a month to get these rookies prepared. And a guy like James Wiseman, he hasn't played in over a year because he didn't drop out. He declared for the NBA draft and sat out the rest of the season for Kentucky or for Memphis last year.
Well, he got suspended.
And he got suspended, but then he ended up
correct.
And then he came back, and it was just really weird. But all right, so then number 3, the person who a lot of people had projected, we had projected to go number 1 overall, LaMelo Ball fell to number 3, and I think the Hornets are happy with that. I mean, those 3, most people thought were interchanged. Those were the top 3 guys. No one had any question about. So LaMelo Ball heads to the Hornets, who a lot of people had him at number 1. He's not a good shooter. That's the biggest thing for him to work on because he has the court vision. He has the passing. He's an athlete. He's just not he shot, what'd they say, 33% from the floor last night?
Well, and from 3, it was like 27 or something.
Not good.
Not good at all. I mean, I just love Jay Billis's closing remarks as they were talking about LaMelo, and it was just like, he's a horrible defender, and he can't shoot. But if he can work on those things, he can be a good player in the NBA.
Because I think he's probably
it was
thinking
so condemning.
He's like, geez, their dad's definitely watching this. I don't want his dad coming after me now. No one wants that noise because his dad's crazy.
Right.
The Ball dad's crazy. What's his name?
LeVar.
How
could you forget?
Right. There's too many stuff.
Lala.
Orlando, LeVar.
All these people in La La Land.
LaMelo.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just going to say it. Those kids are ugly. Those kids are ugly. Am I wrong? Say it. Say that I'm wrong because you're wrong.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Boom. Diplomat. Me. What's up?
So you're saying they're ugly?
I'm not saying anything.
They're ugly.
They're interesting looking kids.
That's another word for ugly. So luckily for them, they're really good at something and they're gonna make millions of dollars and they'll have their pick of the litter. But they're just not good looking at all.
I just didn't know I was going to have to field or respond to such comments, but I appreciate it.
Welcome to the locker room.
Yeah, what's up?
It's just locker room talk.
Locker room talk. Yeah,
Come
what
on.
do we do here?
Come on. All right. Number 4, this was the biggest surprise of the night, probably because of the fact that Patrick Williams went number 4.
And this is the perfect example of what I was just describing, is that the NBA is like so tantalized and intrigued by just ceiling.
Yeah.
And this guy, I think he's the youngest player in the draft. I think he's only 19 years old.
He's super young.
But he didn't even start in college, and I think he averaged like 6 points or something like that a game.
Yeah,
It's just
definitely
because
under
he's
10.
got a big NBA body, and in theory, he could be such a versatile defender.
6'8", 225.
Yeah. But again, in terms of like basketball skills, very underdeveloped, very raw. So we'll see. I kind of wanted to see LaMelo go to Chicago just because I thought it'd be hilarious to watch Zach LaVine and LaMelo both try to operate on the court at the same time, being the players that they are. But yeah, Patrick Williams.
Well, to kind of give you an idea, so Patrick Williams is 6'8", 225, a decent physical comp. Draymond Green's 6'6", 230. So like, if he, and obviously I'm not saying because of the fact that they're the same size, they're going to be the same player, but if he could turn into a Draymond, because Draymond Green isn't a scorer. Draymond Green can score, but he's a vicious rebounder, a vicious defender, and a very important piece of a championship-winning team.
And a really good facilitator,
and
too.
A very good facilitator. That's probably the kind of guy they're looking at. Patrick Williams will never be a guy who scores 20 points a game.
No.
He's a guy who can score.
I would be incredibly
He can score
surprised.
15. He can score 15 a game. He could average a double-double. He has a high ceiling for a championship team. He doesn't have a high ceiling as an MVP type player.
Well, it's a good thing that the Bulls are right in that championship mix over in the East. Yeah,
they're ready.
Contenders.
Then number 5, we'll finish up here, the top 5. Isaac Okoro from Auburn went to Cleveland.
I have nothing.
Seems like a safe pick. I mean, everything I heard last night, he doesn't have a high ceiling, but he has a high floor. He should be a very solid contributor. Very good defensive player. He's a mature player because he played under Bruce Pearl at Auburn. There's not really much to it. And I think, like I said, that's why it's a safe pick. He's not flashy. He's not boring by any means, but he's there. And I think for the Cavs, it's fine.
I mean, he got drafted to Cleveland, so you know he's not going to amount to anything.
Yeah.
I mean, ask Colin Sexton and Darius Garland how they're doing there in Cleveland under that regime.
Exactly. The only other thing I want to talk about as far as the NBA draft goes, so Gonzaga's Killian Tilly didn't get drafted, which I think was a surprise to some draft analysts. It was a surprise to me based purely off his talent. And I know Andrew and I were texting last night about this. I actually didn't respond to him. But
you get mad.
Yeah, exactly. I was just furious. He was like that. It was also a surprise, but you make a good point. The medical injury concerns are there for sure. He's had a lot of injury problems the last 2 years for GU, and they're lower body leg injuries. He has kind of small legs.
It's one of the. It's his body type that almost just looks like it's more
top-heavy.
susceptible to injuries that such as he's sustained, and it just sketches me out. Yeah.
And it should a little bit. I think having NBA quality training will definitely help. Because he actually did sign a contract with the Memphis Grizzlies, which is really cool because then he's also teamed up with former Zach Brandon Clark. And he's obviously with John Morant. That Grizzlies team is definitely up and coming. Will be really fun to watch moving forward. So we'll keep an eye on Tilly. He was the only Zag who could be drafted. So that is all the Zag talk we have until next week when we have our Zags preview. And I want to talk, before we talk about some of the trades that have happened, one of the best things you'll see on the internet this year, I love this. I usually don't like stuff like this, but this was probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. A zoo, for instance, post. And here's a nice video of something we're going to talk about here.
Good evening and welcome to the excitement of the animal kingdom and the Memphis Zoo. Let's meet the newest member of the Memphis Zoo roster. At 6'3" and 140 pounds, here is Jabronis.
I love the introduction.
I love the whole thing.
6'3", 180, Jabronis.
I audibly laughed.
So this happened right before we started doing the show, and I wish I would have seen it like during the show and was able to put that up there because that was hilarious. Literally, John Morant retweeted and said that giraffe was born a legend, and I mean he's really playing along. This is the Memphis Zoo, obviously home of the Memphis Grizzlies, where John Morant plays, and I love it. I absolutely 6'3", 180. Like they had a whole player introduction about it, and it's just a newly birthed giraffe.
Yeah. Unless Russell turns into a new player tonight, this will easily be the highlight of my day.
Well, yes, exactly. This is probably the most famous giraffe in the country now. Little Ja
think
Ralph.
so. Yep.
He's a small kid.
Grind City,
a lot
baby.
of potential.
Blue
He's a lot of
collar.
potential. We'll see what he is able to produce on the African safari.
Plains. The plains of Africa.
Plains of Memphis.
Nice.
That's about the best
They're
he's gonna get.
One and the same. Yeah.
One and the same. Same in the one. I don't think
Nice.
that's a saying, but
It's
I
not.
went for it.
Sounded really cool.
It sounded really cool. That would be a really sweet saying. All right, NBA trades. We have all sorts of stuff that have happened over the last week. A lot, again, like you said, a lot of which have been kind of swept under the rug because the draft happened right after all of these moves happened.
Yeah.
And a lot of moves even happened last night. So we're going to go over quickly a few of these trades that happened, and we'll see what – I mean, it's going to be an interesting year.
Yeah, it really is. So Milwaukee was, within the first couple of days, one of the biggest players, and it makes sense
They had
because
to be.
you've got to think that they're trying to ensure, that Giannis ends up re-signing with him when his contract does expire, and obviously they want to build a contender around him, seeing that they are a good regular season team, especially over the past 2 years. However, things change in the playoffs, and their style of play just hasn't translated to success within the postseason. So they went out and they spent a lot of capital to get Drew Holiday on one remaining year. They got Drew Holiday for 1 year. They gave up 3 first-round picks as well as 2 future draft swaps. You got to think. Okay, so the first-round picks, Milwaukee's going to be good. So the first-round picks really aren't going to be that
Late
great
first-round picks, yeah.
unless there's some like cataclysmic falling apart of the team,
Giannis
and
gets
then
hurt.
right, and then New Orleans is going to be making out. But they also sent George Hill and Eric Bledsoe down to New Orleans.
Both good, solid role players.
Yeah, definitely. Eric Bledsoe for sure, especially what he can bring as a defender.
Yep.
I know Stan Van Gundy is going to like that because one of the worst things about the Pelicans, especially in the Alvin Gentry era, is just they don't play defense. So that's definitely going to be a good, just like a nice solid piece for them. Also, they get those picks. Man, David Griffin has done an incredible job since he's gotten down there in Louisiana.
Yum.
Sam Presti's also been a big winner for the last year and a half now.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps your favorite team's pick, and I know you don't have a favorite team, but he's coming for that pick and the 3 behind it as well.
Yep.
He's coming for your entire future. But so they're able to land Drew Holiday. So that's cool because they kind of have a big 3. That's nice because now Middleton can kind of slip into that third player role, which is ultimately what he is. I don't think he's really a true second option. And then they also, in theory, made a sign and trade deal for Bogdanovic from Sacramento. However, it was reported last night that actually fell through because Bogdan did not want to go to Milwaukee, and he chose to be a restricted free agent instead. He's going to test the market.
Which is kind of interesting. Like, why wouldn't he? I feel like
I don't know,
people would wanna
but
play in Milwaukee.
from what I understood, what I heard also was that Bogdan and Giannis are friends. So there was like a little personal tie there as well. And then Bogdanovic is like, actually, psych, I want to go. I don't know where you're trying to test. But, I mean, to each their own. I mean, it's his prerogative to explore that and see what he can get. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he'll just go and sign with him anyway.
I would
have more money.
If they would have if that deal would have gone through, that's a pretty good starting lineup. And you factor in Brook Lopez, and I'm forgetting who the 5th player would have been, but that's
a solid
tough,
lineup,
especially in the East. Yeah.
Yeah, really, they'd walk over everybody.
So that was a plot twist last night when that came out, but that is the current state of things. So we'll see if Milwaukee continues to try to make moves and if they're even able to do anything after this Bogdanovic deal fell through. What else do we have? Oh, hey, did you know that both Westbrook and Harden want out of Houston?
Yeah, and that's becoming a bigger issue because Harden turned down his extension offer and pretty much saying, like, I want out of here.
So by all accounts, they're very supportive of the Stephen Silas hire, rather, except for the fact that neither one of them have even talked to Stephen. So
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
Everything, all the reports that I saw, they said that the 2 players were in all the meetings and had all the agreements as to who they wanted. But I saw, I don't know if it was the Houston GM or if it was just Houston. It was a spokesperson or anonymous source, but they said they were ready for things to get uncomfortable in Houston, if that means keeping them both. And they're ready to just go throughout the season having 2 disgruntled players. That's a bold move.
Well, what are you supposed to do, especially with Harden, because the only place that he wants to go to is Brooklyn, so the only team that you're allowed to do any sort of business with is Brooklyn? I mean, no.
Does he have the ability to say no? I would assume so. Yes, that worked into his contract.
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
I would have to guess. I feel like if you're a top player in the league, you're going to have some no trade clauses in there or destinations that you can pick your destination essentially.
The only one that I think would actually make sense in terms of actually getting a deal done would be Philadelphia. But at the same time, apparently Fertitta does not want to give Harden over to Daryl Morey. We'll see. I don't know. I guess we'll see how ugly things get if that changes his mind about what he wants to do.
It has to get messy. I mean, he's already let's see. It says neither former MVP has requested a trade from Houston at this point. This was just as of this was a while ago, actually. I think that's changed.
A while, what, Monday?
Yeah, no.
Much has happened.
That's the crazy thing is that it's going back and forth as far as, yes, I want to be traded. No, I don't want to be traded. Yes and no, because you haven't really heard anything officially from either side as far as I understand.
There's been some Westbrook, John Wall trade rumors. I think Westbrook's going to end up in the Eastern Conference somewhere. I'm not sure, but it's going to be
he needs the right situation. There's not many out there. But he needs a situation that people can accept him for who he is now.
And he can just average basically a triple-double and squeeze them into like the 7 or 8 seed and then ultimately get swept in the first round. Like I think that is his destiny. I think he just wants a city to embrace him. He wants to put a city on his back, and we know what that looks like in Oklahoma City. It ultimately does not translate to winning or any sort of greater success, but
I think
he can pad the hell out of his stats, and he can put up numbers, so it'll be great.
Yep.
The Suns did, in fact, acquire Chris Paul, giving up Ricky Rubio, Kelly Oubre, Ty Jerome, Jalen LeCue, and a 2022 first-rounder. It makes Phoenix more fun. I think this probably solidifies some sort of playoff spot for them in the West.
Yeah.
Ultimately, are they contenders? No. It makes them fun,
though.
It makes them a little bit more relevant.
It does. It's a lot, though, to give up. Chris Paul's very good, but they did give up a lot for him.
They did give up a lot for him, and they took on his fat contract.
Yeah, and the issue with that is you're kind of restricting yourself for the future as far as, you better go do something now.
Yep.
And there's a lot of teams out there, and as a Seahawks fan that's really had a really strong front office for the last decade, you just don't see really good teams making those kind of moves.
No, you don't.
Patriots don't make those moves, ever. It's just organizations are ran differently. And some organizations have the pressure and desire to win now, and their winning now means making the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. So for Phoenix, who hasn't been to the playoffs in I don't know how long, but ultimately have been irrelevant in the landscape of the West since, the 7-second Suns and D'Antoni and Stoudemire and Steve Nash and, Rajah Bell and Sean Mary and all those guys. So I think for them, this is a splash. Not that people are going to be in the arenas. There aren't going to be fans or anything, but at least it gets the fan base excited. I know that one of our interns here is a Phoenix Suns guy, and he's excited about the pick, even though he's going to miss his personal favorite, Kelly Oubre. But another really good move on the part of the 76ers, actually, is that they were able to trade Al Horford to the Thunder, but they're also giving up a first and a second-round pick, and then Danny Green is going to end up in Philadelphia after just getting traded to Oklahoma City in the Dennis Schroeder trade from the Lakers. So the fact that Philadelphia is able to get out of that Horford contract that they signed him to.
They just don't like him, obviously, at all.
Well, also for that kind of money, that was just ridiculous. So that was actually a great thing that Philadelphia was able to pull off last night. And then the Thunder and Sam Presti still just racking up those picks. Man, it's insane. Steven Adams is looking around the locker room like, who are you guys?
Yeah, what am I still in the Thunder here, or did I get traded?
Yeah,
no, they really are. They're racking up a ton of picks, and it's really unfortunate because that could have been the Sonics.
It'll always come back to that. Always come back to
the Sonics.
I understand.
Always does. Always a heartbreak.
Outside of that, there have been a ton of trades. A lot of them have been, just within the draft and acquiring, moving back, getting second rounders, and things of that nature. Nothing super big. Portland did get Robert Covington, and then Houston got Trevor Ariza again. But they also just traded Trevor Ariza, and I can't remember to who off the top of my head. But a lot of small trades like that happening around the league. But, it's been a really fun week for the NBA.
Yeah.
And it's going to get more fun. We're going to see, as a Celtics fan, what's going to happen with Gordon Hayward here today as the deadline for him
50 minutes.
Yeah, opt in or out of that.
We might hear about it before the show's done.
I'm
actually going to look up Gordon Hayward right now, just to see.
Yeah,
Hayward.
Spencer Haywood. Yeah.
At least he's an NBA player.
Anyway, so yeah, big week for the NBA, and it's coming up fast. Yeah, it's just over a month here that we're going to see the return of the regular season. So obviously they're going to start their little preseason games here in the next couple weeks as well. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of other developments. Hopefully people can stay healthy, unlike Clay. Again, RIP, bless up Clay. But yeah, what you want to talk about next? You want to do some NFL stuff?
Well, actually, I really want to make sure that people know that they have a chance to get their stuff hauled away if they need to.
Do I have the chance?
You have the
Do I have the opportunity?
You have the opportunity to hire the best company in the Spokane Coeur d'Alene area to haul your junk away.
I would love to do just that. Tell me more.
All right. Well, if you have a remodeling or cleanup project, hire Lake City Hauling. They are the premier hauling company in the Spokane Coeur d'Alene area, and they would love to help you. Help save a trip to the dump. Let them haul all small and big items for you. That's always a help, in my opinion. They will remove it all, including your unwanted trash, branches, yard waste, furniture, appliances, and everything else that is just piling up around your house that you're like, I don't want here. I don't want this anymore. Get it out of my face. Instead of putting it in your alley saying free and hope that someone comes by and steals it or takes it nicely. Check out their awesome 5-star review rating on Google and see why customers continue to come back to Lake City Hauling. And they do offer same-day pickup, which is always nice. So you don't have all that unwanted junk and trash laying around, just wasting space. Don't spend your time and energy. Hire Lake City Hauling to do it for you. They offer junk removal, dumpster rentals, and demolition in the Cooney County and Spokane area. But if you do live outside of those areas, don't be afraid to give them a call. They love to work out deals. And they will be more than happy to go over those options. And if you'd like to get a hold of them, reach out to 208-425-4130 and ask for more information. Or, as you can see here, visit them at their website at lakecityhauling.com.
Perfect solution if you have a hoarding problem, and if you're trying to get on top of that hoarding problem, really fix it. If your family is like sat you down, said, hey, we need an intervention, this is your intervention, just haul it all away.
Lake City Hauling actually specializes in intervention removal.
Perfect. Look at that.
Yeah, they don't list that, but I know that if they did list it, it wouldn't be surprising.
No, it wouldn't at all.
It wouldn't be surprising at all. Lake City Hauling hauls it all, and another awesome sponsor of the locker room. They'll be remembered as the number 2 sponsor.
They will
in the history of the locker room.
When it goes down in the history books, yes.
The history book that we actually have sitting right over here, we keep notes in as far as everything that happens in and around the locker room.
Oh yeah.
If you'd like to be a part of the locker room, let us know.
Yeah,
we'd be more than happy to make you the 3rd sponsor of the locker room. I mean, look at these ad reads and look at this airtime that Lake City Hauling is getting for free. Who doesn't want that? You're out there. I know they're out there.
Losers.
Not Lake City Hauling. The losers who aren't
the people
wanting,
that don't want us.
People who don't want us.
I feel like I didn't need to clarify that.
That's fine. It's okay.
Cool.
I forgive you.
Awesome.
For now. Anyway, yeah, we do have some NFL stuff real quick. So DeAndre Baker, who was released from the New York Giants earlier this year because he was charged with like 4 counts of robbery and with a weapon and assault. I mean, a lot of bad charges that would have put him in jail for a long time in New York, or actually in Florida because that's where it happened. He is now free to play football again. All 4 charges were dropped because the attorneys for the prosecuting side of this investigation is now being charged with extortion because he was paying off his witnesses. Not a good look. I think so. I'm no lawyer, but I don't think you can give money to people to make statements.
No, I've actually read that you can't do that. I think you're right, Justin.
I'll check that. I'll double check that when I read my bar book.
Okay.
I think so. DeAndre Baker actually did sign with the Kansas City Chiefs either yesterday or the day before, and he is now a member of their practice squad. One of my buddies, Jared Judd, talked like, "Oh, great! Like, why didn't we go after DeAndre Baker?" Baker had a terrible rookie year.
I was going to say
he had no interceptions.
Yeah.
Former coach Pat Shermer actually had to bench him later on in the season. I don't think he was really into it. Another guy who, we go back to the whole passion thing, another guy coming out of the draft actually was really singled out for not having a ton of passion to play football.
Oh, I like him even more now.
It's your favorite player.
Favorite player,
your
all right.
favorite player. Go Chiefs.
Getting DeAndre Baker jersey.
DeAndre, a Giants or a Chiefs one?
Giants.
What about both?
Ooh. Half and half.
Fascinating. But no, you can't. You're leading into a hoarder then if you have 2 jerseys of the same.
Fair.
But you would be able to use Lake City Hauling.
What's up?
What is up? All right. The other also news that we have here just a couple hours ago. I hate it. I'm leaning toward more hating it. CenturyLink Field is now Lumen Field. So the Seattle Seahawks will not be playing in CenturyLink Field tonight against the Arizona Cardinals. They will, in fact, be playing in Lumen Field because Lumen, the company, I guess, bought out CenturyLink, and they're like, we don't want a name that doesn't exist on the stadium. We paid hundreds of millions of dollars to acquire this company. We want our name on it.
This is kind of lazy, but yes, I will second and echo that sentiment because that's my jabroni of the week.
Is it?
Yeah, it's the worst. I hate it.
Oh, I didn't mean
I'm
to
sure,
jump
like,
all
in
over
5 or
your
10
jabroni
years,
there.
if they win a Super Bowl, like, while they're playing under the lights at Lumen Field, sure, I'm sure that'll, kind of rewrite history and rewrite the way that I feel about it. But in the moment, getting that notification, seeing that, gross.
So
Just
the only
gross.
decent thing about it is it could be much worse. That's the
It could
only
be
thing
stadium.
I keep telling myself. It could
Right.
be Lumen Stadium, which sounds like
That's
trash.
fair.
But Lumen, it could be much worse than Lumen. Like, at least Lumen's kind of cool. Like,
Is it?
it's like lights.
It's a really weak word.
It's weak. It's a very.
There's no emphasis on
very
any.
cuck word. Cucks would like Lumen Field.
I don't know. Cuck has more power to it,
It
than
does.
Lumen.
It does. But if you are a cuck, you would like this word.
It's like legumes and like human and
Laguna.
ugh. It's just gross.
It's a very soft word. If you are a beta, you'd like this word.
Seattle is a soft city.
Seattle is full of betas. Let's be honest here. Seattle is full of beta cucks, and they know it. But it's
But
okay.
they would argue that there's no difference between alphas and betas as it exists in humans. But that's a conversation for, I don't know, a Joe Rogan podcast or something.
Rogan can take that one and be threatened with cancellation.
Yes.
Because he makes tens of millions of dollars a year, and he
Right.
laughs on his way to the bank after each show.
Spotify employees, also soft.
Yeah, Spotify employees are soft. Let's cancel him because he talks with people from opposing views as us.
Best podcast
Oh
in the
my
world.
God. Yeah, they can suck it.
Anyway,
let's move on real quick. We're going to talk Seahawks here for we're going to talk about them in a second. Let's get to our picks. I went 8-6. I almost went 500.
yeah, I've almost done that a couple times. It doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good. It's not my fault that the NFL is so polarized. Sorry, not polarized. They're so it's any given Sunday. It's
Right.
always been like this. It's a really hard league to predict. Even if you look at some of the professionals who do this, they're hovering over 500 all season because it really is a 50-50 toss-up. And so you are able to get above 50-50 because some teams are literally just better than the
You
next.
just catch a team on the wrong week or the right week, either way,
Yeah.
honestly. And yeah, you have a contender, a division leader that ends up getting tripped up, by a team with 2 or 3 wins
Yep.
this late in the season.
Yep.
It happens. It's not anything special. It's not anything new. This is the nature of the league. But yes, so you're 8-6.
But I'm still leading by 1.
Okay, yes, and I'm hoping that this will finally be the week that I overtake you. I felt like there were a lot of I
Lucky
could
guesses
go,
that you
That's
had.
not what I was going to say. I was just going to say, looking at the slate this week, I feel like there are a lot of games that could go either direction. So I'm curious to see, as we make our picks for this week, how many we actually choose differently and how many opportunities I have to make up that ground. And finally,
Well, I'm gonna
after
go
11
14-0.
weeks, perhaps supersede you.
No.
So yeah, I went 10-4. So yes, I am 95-50.
One game back.
Yep.
Actually, ESPN hasn't updated. The location still for the Seahawks Cardinals game still says CenturyLink Field. So that's on them. It's just another reason why ESPN is average.
Also, did you see their Photoshop for LaMelo's head on the body
I
of
did.
a Charlotte Hornet
Yeah,
player?
I didn't like it. It was
Wow,
bad.
that
it was horrible.
egregious. I know they just had layoffs. I don't know if one of the Photoshop guys, my buddy made that joke, if he
That
got
is pretty
laid
funny.
off. But yeah,
Well, what happened is they're like, "Hey, have you been on a computer before? Yeah, you're hired.
Yeah.
Come make this Photoshop photo of us."
use a
for
lot
us."
of emojis and things like lit and no cap.
And
I've always wanted to be cool
secure
enough.
that bag.
I've always wanted to be cool enough to say no cap. Only the coolest people no cap it. After
I don't think you
previously writing a
I think the
caption
only
and then saying
people-
underneath no cap.
The only people who can are people who make a lot of money. If you make, this whole show has been about money. Literally, if you have a lot of money, you can do and say whatever you want.
It's true.
It's 100% true.
true.
You can almost break the law.
They don't teach you this in high school, but it is a very valuable life lesson.
If you want to break the law, make money.
That's right.
Now, if you murder,
Yeah.
you hire somebody to do it. You hire somebody to literally. We're not going to get into this too much, but if I had that much money, there's a lot of things that I probably shouldn't do that I would do with that money.
Let's stop there. Cool.
If you'd like to know, though, let me know.
Okay.
Vinny's back here laughing. He's like, I wonder what it could be.
No, he's like these guys right now.
That's fine. Let's see, who do the Saints play? I'll pick the Saints, so he'll be fine. Anyway,
Okay.
we'll start with the Sunday day matchups. We have the Eagles at the Browns. Yeah, Browns.
Yeah, Browns too. I actually don't feel good about that pick, though.
I hate that pick.
Yeah, I don't feel
That
good
game
about
could go either
the fact
way.
that they could have beat Houston 17-7, but
They won
Nick
10-7.
Chubb ran out of bounds and like killed bettors and
Which
fantasy
made no
owners
sense.
across the nation. It didn't make any sense. It didn't.
He's-
I watched it live and I was like,
You're like,
I think you overthought that, dude.
well,
but
he's like, he saw Todd Gurley score a couple weeks ago, and he's like, I can't be that guy.
He's
It's
like, I know.
you became the opposite of that guy. You're
Right.
stupid. Yeah, Cleveland is the right pick there, barely. Then we have the Falcons at the Saints.
give me the Dirty Birds. I'm going against the Saints for the first time in weeks. I've been very consistent about picking the Saints. It has done me very well. Jameis Winston did not look good. I
He
don't
only
think
threw the
he's-
ball. He only had 10 throws.
I don't care. I
He threw
don't
6
think
for
he's
10.
going to be eating that dub this week. Give me the Dirty
don't
Birds.
know.
The Falcons, they're playing better.
I actually didn't talk to Vinny about this. I forgot about Drew Brees being out. I'm going to pick the Saints. Actually, I think they're
Okay.
going to rally. I think it's at home. I know you don't believe in the home field advantage right now.
Don't.
They are at home. I think Jameis threw for over 5,000 yards last year.
Okay, how many picks did he throw? How many times did he turn the ball
Less
over?
than touchdowns. He threw more
I
touchdowns.
think
than
Russell's
interceptions.
actually going to eclipse his pick mark this year.
He probably will, unfortunately. I'm going to pick the Saints. Then we have the Bengals at the Washington football team. That connected franchise that I'm doing on Madden, I'm actually the Washington football team.
That's what's up. How do you feel?
What's really funny is, so I'm 7 or 6-1. The rest of the league is 2. So I'm going to say I was 7-1. The team right below me is 2-6. Then the Cowboys and the Eagles are 0-7 and 0-8. I kid you not.
That's not
the
too-
NFC East still sucks.
That's not
in
too
a
far from
simulated
reality.
Madden franchise.
Man, I don't know if I'd rather listen to you talk about your fantasy team or about your connected careers play
Both.
on Madden.
Both.
Right. I'm going to go with the Bengals. Got to
Yeah.
bounce back. Did not have a good showing last week against Pittsburgh. Only put up 10 points. That was the first game this year that the Bengals have not been in, especially like late in the game. A lot of one-score losses from the Bengals and Washington. Man,
I'd
it's
love
hard to
pick
go against
Washington
Alex
here.
Smith.
I'd love to pick Washington here.
Do it. Go ahead.
That defensive line, I think, is going to cause Burrow some problems. I'd love to pick
The
Washington.
only
here.
defensive line that hasn't caused Burrow problems was that of the Tennessee Titans.
And they suck. Their defensive line's bad.
Big suck.
Clowney sucks.
I'm so glad we didn't sign him.
Yeah, me too.
Just
God,
do it. Dude, just do it.
I'm going to
Hurry up.
pick Washington.
All right.
If Washington doesn't get at least 5 sacks, they lose.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep an eye on it. Then we have the Lions at the Panthers. Who do you have?
I've been riding the Lions the last few weeks, and it's been paying off, so I'm going to keep that streak going. Christian McCaffrey's out, but as we've seen, that really hasn't changed the Panthers a lot. They're surprisingly well coached. Like, in their offense,
Rule's done a good job.
Is Bridgewater playing? I actually haven't checked on that, but
Should be.
he took a shot to the knee.
I'm picking the Lions either way. Well, Stafford,
Okay.
I have to check. Again, Stafford's on my fantasy team. But I have to check and see if Stafford's actually playing because he tore a ligament in his throwing thumb.
Oh,
So,
it don't matter.
he-
Stafford's like
He is
actually
a-
a
he is
tough
a
guy,
man.
not like
No,
Ben
he's
Roethlisberger
tough.
that lets you know about every injury he's ever sustained ever. But Stafford never talks about any of it, and he's battled some
Stafford
shit
didn't
during
practice
his career.
yesterday, but they're assuming he plays.
I'm going
If
with the
he
Lions either way.
doesn't play, I think Carolina actually wins, but I'm going to go with the Lions
Okay.
as well. Then we have the Steelers at the Jags. Steelers will win.
Yep.
Then we have the Titans at the Ravens, which is a good game.
It is. They're both sliding right now.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams have not played well as of late. I am inclined to go with the Titans just because I think that they have – I mean, obviously the rest of the league has figured out the Lamar thing. This happens year after year with runaway MVP candidates. It happened –
Mm-hmm. The Madden curse.
It wasn't – Colin Kaepernick didn't win an MVP, but he had those couple years where he played like an MVP. It was the same thing with Cam. It's the same thing with Lamar. Give a defense an offseason. Give the NFL an offseason. Those players are going to come back down to earth. Lamar can't throw when he needs to throw. He really thrives and looks like a superstar when they're able to play the game that they like to play. But if they're ever taken out of their game plan, it's a hot mess and a dumpster fire. And I think that, I don't know. I'm just going with the Titans. I think it's a gut thing.
I'll go with the Ravens then.
Okay, cool.
I think that'll be this is probably the biggest toss-up of the week. Because, like you said, both teams are sliding. Lamar just has not looked good. Tennessee hasn't looked good. But I just think Baltimore's defense is going to have to step it up a lot. And they're better than Tennessee's.
Baltimore's defense is better than Tennessee's, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. Patriots at the Texans.
Patriots.
I don't know why I'm always on, but I think Stephon Gilmore is going to play, which is going to be big. I'm also going to.
I mean, the Patriots are just running the ball for the rest of the year.
They
you
are.
Understand that, right? That's all they do. They run the ball.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Patriots. They're the safer pick there. If I really want to be flashy, I'd pick Houston. Then we have the Dolphins at the Broncos.
Dolphins.
Yeah.
Two a time.
I like it.
Man.
I like the Dolphins. I really like them a lot. Their defense.
Their defense is terrifying.
Really
I don't know if you saw the video, but it was going around like it was like in the pre-snap against the Chargers, and they had like 5 or 6 different guys crowding the line of scrimmage, and they were all moving like,
which is a very college thing to do,
right?
Yeah.
And it was terrifying because it's like you didn't know where any of them were actually going to be set or where they were coming from. They were just shuffling around there. It's like, man,
it's a really interesting strategy, and it makes sense because it doesn't allow the linemen to really pick up their scheme,
right,
and who they're going to block. So, I do like that. Then the Jets at the Chargers.
Is Justin Fields? Wow.
Good try.
Yeah, Justin Herbert going to get a win. I think he's going to get a win.
He should.
Also, I don't understand. Okay, so he got a buzz cut just like any other guy that's ever gotten shipped off to the military. It's not that bad.
It's not good,
I've seen so many worse haircuts. Like, look at Cam Newton. We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
You're not allowed
I
to talk
about that
badly
all the time.
Well,
I talk
you
about
do.
Cam Newton's terrible hair.
How about why can't we talk? I don't know. I just really didn't think that was a big of a deal.
They made it They made it a bigger
Twitter.
Because social
absolutely
media. It's
roasted
because social
him.
media loves to make big deals out of things that aren't that big of a deal. It's a deal. It's not a big deal.
Sure,
Yeah.
it's a deal. But Chargers.
Then we have the Packers at the Colts.
Did you pick the Chargers?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool. Packers at the Colts. Okay, I'm going to go with what might be an upset here. I'm going to go with the Colts.
I'm going to go with the Packers. That's interesting.
All right, cool. There are quite a few games that we're going in different directions on this week.
Definitely. Then we have Dallas at the Vikings.
Vikings
have looked good. They've won 3 in a row. Kirk's actually having a decent
just hand the
time.
ball off. Hey, Kirk got his first Monday night
he was
win.
Pumped after that first down. Oh, he was thrilled. Yeah, I think the Vikings
off to Kirk.
will. The Vikings are still in contention for a playoff spot.
I know they really could, and especially with the way that the Bears are falling and will not get up.
Hey,
yeah.
the Bears can't lose this week though. They're on a bye. Then we have the Chiefs at the Raiders. I really like what the Raiders are doing still, but the Chiefs are a better football
Trent
team.
Dilfer put it beautifully this week. He said the Raiders are brilliantly boring.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're just finding different ways to run the ball. They're just bullying people, doing different things in the running game, and there's nothing sexy about them at all.
Yep.
I'm going to pick the Chiefs. It's the one loss that they've had all season was to the Raiders. I think don't think that's going to be a repeat offense.
Monday night game, which is going to be really fun, is the Rams at the Buccaneers.
Yeah. I'm kind of bullish on the Rams.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, their defense is legit. Like, them getting rid of Wade Phillips was actually a smart move.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. What's his name? Like Brandon Staley, or
Something like
their
that.
new defensive coordinator?
Yeah, first-year guy.
Yeah, they're playing incredible on the defensive side of the ball. And, I mean, as long as they can protect they did lose Whitworth, though, on Sunday, though, which is a
big loss for
huge
them.
blow.
For a team that can actually rush the passer.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Rams.
I'm going to go with the Buccaneers.
Everything we just talked about talked me out of it, but I still got to go with my initial
I'm going to go with
reaction.
the Bucs. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bucs.
Okay.
I think Brady knows how to dissect defenses really well, and I think their style of offense fits the Rams' defense as far as attacking it than the Seahawks do.
There is a lot of opportunity for you to either just absolutely blow me out of the water and really regain that lead, or I will actually take you over. Yeah, we went
there's
very
one
many
more.
different directions.
There's one more. And
there is. Oh, can you imagine?
We have a game tonight. We have a game tonight that is very important for both of the teams that we're about to talk about, one of which is the sister team to the jersey that I'm wearing, and that would be the Seahawks hosting the Arizona Cardinals at Lumen Field.
Gross. It still sucks.
Not
It's not
great.
changed
Not
in
great.
15 minutes.
Who do you got?
Why?
You're going to go 3 weeks in a row.
What have they
Nothing.
shown that
Absolutely
would give me any
nothing.
reason to feel
Russell
confident?
Wilson, Pete Carroll has never lost 3 games as the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks.
There's a first time for everything.
There's no time for everything.
Nice. You really stumped me there.
Yep.
No, I'm going to go with the Cardinals, especially coming off that. Okay, so the only thing
Cardinals
that
do look really good.
Yeah, they look really good. They're riding a high. Maybe it's a trap game for them because of the fact that they're riding such an emotion. Maybe they're hungover from the Hail Mary.
They got to go to Seattle.
Cool. Home field advantage, man. All those fans, yeah.
They can hear them. They're outside.
No, there's no reason. What is your defense? What is your
My
argument?
defense is Russell Wilson.
who's played really well for a month straight.
Seven turnovers in the last 2 games.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's
Daniel Jones.
He's 1 interception
status.
away from matching his career high in interceptions in a whole season, and this is what, week 11?
Week 11.
I think Russell Wilson comes out and throws 4+ touchdowns this game with no interceptions.
That would be cool.
It'll happen. And I think DK has a monster game.
That would also be cool.
And Carlos Hyde and Alex Collins actually have a solid ground game tonight.
All right, man.
I'm going to pick the Seahawks.
Shocker.
I'm telling you, I will literally never pick against them. Never.
Okay.
I've never done it before. It would be a bad precedent to break.
Okay.
So Seahawks for me. We'll see what ends up happening. Real quick, one thing: do you think the Seahawks? Colin Cowherd brought this up, and I thought it was really interesting. Do the Seahawks win a game without Russell Wilson at the helm? Really?
No. Do you think that they would be able to?
Yes.
You think they put Geno Smith out there with that defense, and
They
he's
play
going to
the
be able
Jets.
to muster up enough
They play
points?
the Jets next week.
Okay, well, if you're cherry picking the opponent in which we get to choose,
I'm not cherry picking. I'm saying if Geno, actually they play the Eagles next week. They play the Jets after that. I am saying that over a 16-game season, Geno Smith would win 5 games easy. Especially this year.
Yeah, I just
they beat every NFC East team and a couple others.
Maybe.
Definitely.
Not confident.
It's actually a really good argument or a really good conversation to have because I think Russell Wilson is still in the MVP conversation. Because,
no, he's in.
Yes, he is.
No, well, okay.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Because you have to look at the MVP conversation as something that you are the most valuable player. Russell Wilson, the Seahawks are nothing without Russell Wilson.
That's true.
Outside of a couple wins with Geno Smith.
That's true.
So, no, I think he's still in the discussion. That's right. Next week's Thanksgiving, so we have 3 games on Thursday next week.
Very nice.
So what's really cool, we're going to get to the Zags preview next week. Zags play on Thanksgiving morning at 8 a.m. They actually kick off the day of sports across this country.
Yeah.
Because the NFL, their first game's at 9:30, so the Zags will actually overlap that a few minutes.
We get to watch the Cowboys.
Oh, thank God they play every time. Baltimore-Pittsburgh play that Thanksgiving night, so that'll be sweet.
Yep.
All right. We got some jabroni. Oh, we already did your jabroni. We have my jabroni. All right, Vinny, let's pull up the photos and video, whichever you like to do first, because you're the best producer in the world. Photos it is. So here's Mike Tyson. When do they fight again? When does he fight?
Next Saturday.
Mike Tyson he plays Roy Jones on 11/20 plays. He fights Roy Jones Jr. next Saturday, and look at this monster. Mike Tyson hasn't had a professional fight in a long time. He's 54 years old. And if this video doesn't give you chills and just give you... The breaks on it are awesome. Mike Tyson is one of the most
He's an absolute
More
so than Nicolas Cage.
I mean, if this doesn't get you... So, he's my jabroni, but not him. My jabroni is Roy Jones Jr.
Oh, for taking the fight?
For taking the fight against an absolute alpha man.
Hey, those don't exist, all right? Okay?
He's right there.
Yeah, why would you not, though? The money, is he really a
He's
jabroni
scared.
for taking that money?
Roy Jones has tried to back out multiple times.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, that's a bad
Roy
look.
Jones is terrified
It's a bad look.
of Mike Tyson, and why wouldn't you be? One right hook, and you're on life support.
Yeah, or you could just evade him the whole match and...
Can you?
I don't know.
That guy's fast.
That's the question.
Mike
Yeah.
Tyson's fast.
I'm
pumped.
He can literally run around the ring if he wanted to.
I am absolutely thrilled to watch this fight. I'll
Yeah,
pay,
no, it's
I'll
gonna
pay,
be
I'll pay
awesome.
whatever money I have to. I'll watch it.
And you're going to, yeah.
Or I'll find whatever illegal site I have.
I was
going
going to say, I'm just going to illegally stream it
Yeah, I'll
and
go.
deal with the buffers and the lagging.
That might be true. All right, closing time. What do you got for us?
All right, let this footage roll. Vincent Davi, s'il vous plaît. Can they hear me?
LaMelo Ball goes 3rd overall to Charlotte.
Have you ever seen two parents less
Hey, look, this is LaMelo's
less
night,
enthused
but
about
mine's
their
just
son
bragging
going
rights because he was
pro?
second
It was
overall.
awful. He had to like hang his
Check that
hand out there for LeVar, and LeVar like looked at it and he's like, "Do I want to dap you up right now?" He's like, "Oh, I guess I probably should."
LaMelo
It's just
Ball
really
goes
not a
3rd
great
overall
look.
to Charlotte.
But the bigger story is
Hey,
that
look, this is
balls are
LaMelo's
back
night,
at the
but
forefront
mine's just
of
bragging
NBA
rights
talk,
'cause he
chatter,
was second overall
storylines,
in 2017.
and now
And if you
there
know the
might be a
competitive
chance
spirit
with
of the Ball
LaMelo
brothers, I
going
would
to
say
Charlotte that
after
LeVar
Lonzo
has to
gives him
play
his time
Michael
in the
Jordan
sun,
one-on-one. He's always talked about.
He always talked about it.
No one can beat him one-on-one. Even
I'd
Jordan
love to see it.
couldn't beat him one-on-one.
I didn't realize last night too. He played for the Lions in '95.
LeVar?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they showed a photo of him on the team photo playing for the Detroit Lions.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. The Lions have had some celebrities. They had Dale from The Bachelorette on the practice squad.
They did.
With Dan Orlovsky chucking it up to him.
The other really cool thing, I hate the balls.
Yeah.
They're ugly, like I said earlier in the show.
I like Lonzo, though. I like Lonzo because
Why?
he is so obviously not like a boisterous, over-the-top, annoying, obnoxious personality like his father is. Like when they would take, to the set of like Sports Nation when it existed, or like First Take, he's got his hood on, hands in his pockets, and he's just like quiet, very meek and everything, lets dad do all the talking. I kind of like pity him and having to deal with all that. It looks like LaMelo is a little bit more reminiscent of LeVar in terms of, just
Flashiness.
being a character. Exactly.
A douche.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yes.
But it is pretty cool. The first brothers to ever be drafted top 5 in NBA history.
Which is sad because they're both never going to be great.
They're never
like
going to be
I guess
top
we'll
5
see
talent.
with LaMelo, but
No.
Yeah.
No.
Also, yeah.
They're never going to be a top 5 talent. They're only drafted because of they have the skills, but then they'll never be a top 5 player in the league. Neither one of them.
Yeah, both of them were in pretty weak drafts too.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I mean, there was Jason Tatum that went after him.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if the Lakers would have gone with Jason Tatum?
Things would have been much different.
Wow.
Very different.
Wow.
All right, my closing time, which I think is probably one of the funniest news to come out of the sports world this week. I have no graphic or anything to show you, but earlier this year, the Jacksonville Jags traded Yannick Ngakoue to the Minnesota Vikings, who then traded him to the Baltimore Ravens. Anyway, it's a conditional 5th-round pick that they traded back to the Jags from Minnesota. All over Jacksonville Jags Reddit, there have been all of these posts from fans saying, go vote for Yannick Ngakoue to the Pro Bowl. Ngakoue has 5 sacks through 11 games. He's not played very well. He's been in places that don't quite fit his playing style. But the Jags fans are pulling the ultimate power move. If Ngakoue makes the Pro Bowl, which they're really hoping he does, the Minnesota Vikings' 5th-round draft pick gets changed to a 4th-round draft pick to the Jacksonville Jags, and I love that. That's what makes sports great, and I hope it happens because Ngakoue does not deserve to be in the Pro Bowl. There's a lot of players every single year that do not deserve to be in the Pro Bowl, and if this happens, I'm going to laugh. It's going to be probably one of my favorite sports stories of this crazy 2020.
Yeah.
I'm pumped.
As the voice actor, I don't know if it was like for E60 or what, but it'd be like, come on ESPN, Jesus Christ, and be like, the power of sports. This is the power of sports. This is the power of fandom. This is the power of communities centered around sports. And somebody wants us to talk about how there are side-by-side comparisons of Justin Herbert with his new haircut and whatever the name of the actor was that played Anakin in The Phantom Menace. I see it. It's there.
How'd you do that? Wait,
I just feel bad for Justin, dog.
Did Vinny do
like,
this?
why is everybody hurt? Yeah.
right then?
Why is everybody hate on Justin? I just don't get it. He's such a nice guy, such a quiet guy, such a big arm.
I see it, though. You look at
just the biggest arm.
Herbert has a little bit more meat in his cheeks there.
Okay, you're comparing him to a child. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was really going deep for the comparison.
Yeah,
there.
we should get off. We should end this.
I don't appreciate the way you're talking to me.
I'm talking to anybody that cares to listen to me.
There's not many, that's for sure.
Not just you.
Not just me. Anyway, so that was the locker room a week before Thanksgiving. So our show will actually be on Wednesday next week in the morning again because I have food to make on Thursday morning. And Zag's basketball to watch on Thursday morning as well. So we'll be back here on Wednesday, probably about the same time. Morning, I don't know exactly the time, but you'll catch us here then. Again, this is the locker room. Thank you, Spokane Talks. They're the ones who allow us to put this on. Also, Lucky Bird and Lake City Hauling.
Absolutely.
I am your host, Justin Reed, alongside Andrew Tenney. We will see you next Wednesday.
Thanks for watching The Locker Room on Spokane Talks. Check us out on Facebook as well as our other platforms. We want to hear from you. Join the conversation by emailing us at info@SpokaneTalksOnline.com. And for more sports news, opinions, and content, follow Justin and me on Twitter.